So in today's episode of Out of Office, we're talking about the digital gold rush. What happened to the online space between 2022 and 2023 when everybody flocked to Instagram and to TikTok to make money online. So if you've ever wondered what happened, what sparked that digital gold rush, why it took off, why some people were millionaires, why some people were left struggling to make money, and what's next for you and for those people who are interested in making money online, then this episode is going to be for you.
Now give it to me. Oh yeah.
Okay, so do y'all remember when you opened up Instagram like 2 years ago and literally everybody was talking about how they were making $10,000 a month online?
Oh, for sure.
With digital products or digital marketing is the term. Everybody's like, I made $10,000 a month from my phone and a laptop and Wi-Fi with 2 hours a day.
It's like the only thing I remember from 2022.
You could not go on to Instagram or social media in general without seeing those reels. If you ever Googled how to make money online, even once, that is what your feed looked like. For
boom, you're done.
That's all you're going to get. But let's set the scene, okay? This was 2022, circa 2022, and a lot of things were happening around this time, but we'll cover that in a minute. But what we're talking about is how, you open your phone, you're seeing all these reels, and what it was suddenly everybody was talking about how they're making all this money online.
It was a digital gold rush.
Yeah. It was literally the digital gold rush. And we're kind of coining it that because it just exploded. Like you go from nobody talking about having made money online, everyone's just going about their day, working their 9 to 5s, and then suddenly everyone's like, we're making money online. This is what we're doing now.
You have to do it.
Right. And this lasted for about a year. Like this gold rush, it was basically like a trend, but it lasted from 2022 to 2023. And that is when it really blew up. And we saw some really crazy successful people and a lot of really frustrated people too.
Right. And it wasn't a trend, but people thought it was a trend. People used it as a trend because I think people got really misguided and misused the space.
I mean, it was, to be fair though, it was making millionaires out of the most unlikely people. And where I was one of them. And I had never expected anything like that to happen. So
none of us expected it.
Of course, when people hear like the make money or there's an opportunity to make money online and you're seeing people like me make $1 million with it, like, yes, you're going to flock to it.
It kind of was a trend though. I mean, even though it's, it's a legitimate thing, it was a trend in that everybody was talking about it the exact same way. We had people saying, basically everybody was saying, all you need is 2 hours a day, a phone, and some Wi-Fi. And that was like the mantra. That was the universal messaging that everybody was using because that's kind of what they learned from all of these courses, these make money online courses that were teaching people how to start their online business, selling digital products or doing affiliate marketing or whatever it was. But it quickly got turned into this kind of lofty promise of a dream of like financial freedom. And so it was really attractive for the people that were, exhausted from their 9 to 5s and burnt out. And so everybody was chasing this wild dream because they had seen, a handful of people, achieve
crazy
it,
successful,
like make multi-millions. Yeah. And it took off so quickly. So Jane, like, why do you think it took off so fast?
I think it was 100% selling a dream. And let's be super transparent because because it sold a dream, which is exactly why Megan originally bought in and then brought us into it. But they were selling this 2 hour a day. You don't really have to work for it. You're just going to be handed everything to you. And to be super transparent, we were selling that same dream originally until it felt really icky. And we were like, okay, that's not true. It was hard work.
Yeah, because it was like, well, this is what everybody is saying. Maybe this is what we're supposed to be saying. Meanwhile, I was working a full-time job.
Right. But also building your own business is work. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a little bit of grit and work that goes into building any sort of business.
Yeah.
Even if you were gonna start a lawn mowing business, like you have to buy the lawnmower and you got to put up flyers. Like there's just something that goes behind it. But it took off quickly because one, I guess you're right. It was a little trendy. Everyone was talking about it. You know, everyone.
It was new.
It was new. It was online, so it seems slightly easier.
Oh no, everybody made it sound like it was easy. In fact, everyone said this is so easy. And even though that is not the truth.
Those were the words that they used.
That,
yes.
That was the messaging everyone
Basically, you
used.
didn't need to put any money down and you were going to travel the world with your family and everyone was going to retire in 6 months. It was like basically
you'd be
like
making $10,000 a month immediately.
right. The next month you were going to make 10K. And then when it didn't happen, everyone was up in arms and really angry.
And we also have to keep in mind that this is not only all of that, but this is right after COVID. And so COVID happened and suddenly everybody was forced to be home. And suddenly like 3/4 of America was able to work remotely. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is really,
I can never go back.
This is really nice. I never want to go back. This is what it's like to be home with my family. Like all the time. This is awesome. I'm sure it's a nightmare for some people, but like a lot of people are like working from home is amazing. How can I keep going like this? How can I stay home? And so it was like the combination of that happening plus, you know, this promise of this dream, which the dream was financial freedom, be home with your family. And these are the things that they were saying. So everyone's like, oh my gosh, yes, this is the answer. This is our savior, the make money online. And so everyone was buying up these courses. There was multiple. There's probably like 5 or 6 that were circulating at the time. We even took one, and that's like how we initially got started because you start from ground zero.
Yeah, I think everybody who came into the space and who, especially the people who did millions of dollars, all started with a course.
Now, there are some outliers that,
Sure.
you know, maybe had some experience before, but the majority of people started with a simple course that taught people how to monetize.
They started with the course, but then a lot of the people who were extremely successful, you find out later that they also had experience in network marketing, or they had some kind of marketing background. They don't tell you that. A lot of the people didn't tell you that. And so when I found out that some of the really big players were making millions of dollars, and I thought they were like me, with literally no idea what they were doing, no experience. And turns out, they had quite a bit of experience.
Right, they had degrees in marketing, or
Degrees
like
in marketing.
their major job, what they were marketing for large companies.
Or so many of them came from network marketing, where they were building teams and they knew how to do this kind of thing.
They had experience just being in social media in general.
Yeah.
But the mass majority of this huge influx of people trying to monetize social media were people like us who had no experience. I'm an RN by trade, project manager, forensic interviewer.
Yeah.
And like we didn't get on social media at all.
I was very much like against social media for a lot of reasons, but partly because of my job. Like I just didn't want my face out there a whole lot. And so when you started, I was like, ooh, that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like that very much.
I didn't like it either.
But also you brought up COVID. Yeah, working from home was fun for most people. But also I think that you have to keep in mind that there were people who needed to stay home. Like there were people with at-risk children or with health issues or
immunocompromised, you know, there's multiple reasons that people
there's
need
a
to stay
ton of
home.
reasons that all of a sudden people needed to stay home, or they like lost their ability to go to work, or maybe they lost jobs and no longer had transportation and needed to be home. So there were so many reasons that people were heavily buying in to this, to the gold rush and to these courses. And these courses did teach how to start your own business. However, I don't think that a lot of the education went into how to break off into your own business as much as how to make money online necessarily. And so the quickest, easiest way to make money was to affiliate marketing. And there's nothing wrong with affiliate marketing.
Or it was affiliate marketing or the master resale rights. Those were the two big players in the space.
Right.
That's kind of how people were introduced to the space. I was affiliate marketing. That's how I started. And then
Absolutely.
those master resale rights courses, took off, and the promise was buy it once and make 100% profit, make your money back with one sell.
But also for the people who made those courses and got them out and started selling them in that time are genius, because
Oh, yeah.
and that's something that we think about now as business owners. They saw an opportunity, they saw it happening, they saw that the world was shutting down, because these really weren't active.
They capitalized
before COVID.
Yeah,
they
did a great
capitalized on everybody being home, and they profited. The owners of these courses are multimillionaires.
They're living in Turks and Caicos. I mean,
yeah, yeah, 100%.
they killed it.
And they had their own affiliates making millions. So imagine how much they were making. And like, we're going to talk about that more, like, I feel like later on in the season, because that was so genius. And I mean, that's kind of how you have to think as a business owner. But man, it really just changed social media forever.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like before all this, social media, of course people were selling stuff, right? But like, it was more like for the people. But now, since then, now that people understand how much potential is there and how many ways there are to monetize it, like it will never be the same.
Well, it's like, I cannot, I mean, and we're a little bit different, but I will never be able to look at social media the same way.
No.
It's not for fun anymore. I mean, fun was great, but there's just too many opportunities. It's too easy to monetize social media.
I can't even get you to open up like my funny reels.
I know.
Sent you. I'm like, I've sent you 100. You're like, I don't know. I haven't been on Instagram to look at anything funny in 6 months.
No, I just get on there because it makes money.
It does.
I don't have to work. I mean, I don't have to work a normal job.
Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about what went wrong.
Because something did go wrong. And
I don't think people talk about what went wrong.
no one's talking about.
I don't hear anybody talking about what happened and why nobody trusts the space anymore. That
Yeah.
nobody's really talking about what happened in this shift. Why are people suddenly skeptical again?
Well, hold on. I don't even think our listeners may not even realize this shift even happened. Because I feel like it was obvious for us because we were selling in this space. You know, we're teaching people how to monetize social media. But I've never seen any other creator actually openly talk about this on social media, because it's not really a business forward discussion.
No.
It's not sexy. And honestly, so we talk about the digital gold rush being from 2022 to 2023, but then what happened in 2024?
I know, and I don't know that people necessarily are like, oh, something went wrong, but I do think a large portion of people feel icky. They're like, something,
It's back to the ick factor.
yeah.
Which is crazy because we've proven that it's real. But everything, so many facets of the industry were talked about poorly and marketed incorrectly. And it took some time.
Yeah.
And it was a slow descent, but it happened over the course of 2024.
So what exactly, explain to me and our listeners, what was happening in this descent? Was it just people, you know, becoming less interested, or, you know, what really happened?
Well, like we talked about, you know, when we opened up, we realized that it's not just 2 hours a day, phone, laptop, Wi-Fi, and you're going to make 10K a month. The thing is that potential is there. That potential is never going to go away. And this is the easiest thing I've ever done. Am I saying it doesn't take work? No. Am I saying some days aren't hard? No. But building my business on Instagram and on a couple of programs is so much easier to me than going to work a 9-to-5 job for 40 hours a week.
100%.
But that said, people were still sold on the dream that it's literally 2 hours a day. You don't have to put any thought into it. It's kind of a mindless business, which is absolutely absurd to me because no business is mindless.
Right.
But it was also marketed as a side hustle, not a business.
And passive.
And completely passive. So people were saying passive income, 2 hours a day. All you need is a phone, a laptop, and Wi-Fi. You can work from anywhere in the world and you're going to make $10,000 a month. So people were like, holy crap, is this real? And then the people who were saying that were talking about how much money they made every single day, which in some cases was tens of thousands of dollars. Some people were making $20,000 in a day regularly, which is absolutely insane. But they were selling a course and people finally caught on to that. And then some people, and like y'all remember this too, some people were like, okay, well, they're just reselling the course. Maybe if I just resell that course, I'll make the same kind of money. And then they didn't.
It was a lot of, it was just all desperate energy. Everybody was just desperate to get out of that situation. And that dream seemed so good. And the people that were making this content were just regular moms. And that's who they were, the target audience were moms, because obviously we're the ones working the hardest.
I mean,
but yeah. And so you had all of the content from moms, and it was essentially feeding off desperation, even if that's not what they intended to do.
I was desperate.
I mean, we were desperate. That's why we started. We were in like a low point, but like everybody in this space was so desperate. And when you start anything from a point of desperation, it's going to be extremely messy. Now, obviously there are people like us, like we went in it with our head down, ready to put in the work, because we never expected it to be easy and like you don't, and actually passive. But a lot of people didn't, and they went into this with desperate energy. They're rushing to get all of this done. Maybe they like rushed through the course, or maybe didn't even take it all. And they're like, well, I don't even have time to do anything else. We're just gonna start. We're gonna do what everybody else is doing, and I'm gonna make money like all of the other people online. And that's what's happening for them. Surely it can happen for me, and that just didn't happen for thousands and thousands of people.
But I think that, and we're going to talk about this more at a different time because a lot goes into it, but I think that that is why people got the ick and thought it was a pyramid scheme. And we're going to talk about that more in episode 2, when it really wasn't. And that really was off-putting. But I think also, let's just talk about why it took off so fast.
Or where it left people.
Okay, where it left people.
Yeah, because it definitely took off fast just because of, the trend and the desperation.
And we talked about desperation. I know that people went in and they were just throwing content out there because they wanted to make quick money. But also when you're desperate, you are just willing to believe anything because you want it so badly to be true. And it's not that it wasn't true. However, pieces of it were exaggerated. Like we know for a fact we did build a business. Did it take 2 hours a day? Some days. Now that we have, 2 years in, some days.
Yeah, some days.
Is there passive income? Sure. 2 years in, 2 years later.
Not in the beginning.
Not in the beginning. Were there days that, especially for y'all, that you stayed up till 5 a.m. to get a product launched? 1,000,000,000%. Like that just is a part of it. But yeah, so when you talk about desperation, I truly just think that people really, really wanted to believe that everything that these, which is another huge reason of why it took off so quickly. And that's why it left everyone it left them in that same desperate situation.
So let's talk about where people are now, like post digital gold rush. They maybe bought courses online, or they were just, watching people do this and they never actually did it. Where are those people now? Like where has that left them? And I feel like it's just left them extremely skeptical. We're back to square one. Like making money online isn't real. Like they saw it all, the rise and fall, and now they're just over it. They don't want to hear it anymore. It feels cringy. It feels yucky. And I feel like a lot of people have just truly given up because they feel like it was never a real opportunity to begin with.
I hear from people every single day, and Jane helps me with my DM, so you hear him too. Yeah. And you might hear more than even that I do, but I hear from people every single day. Most of them had purchased an MRR course. In fact, most of them purchased the entire circuit, or at least 2 to 3 courses.
A lot of courses from different creators. Mm-hmm.
And now they can't make money. They're like, I don't know what to do. I've spent a ton of money, hundreds of dollars on all of these courses. I'm not making money. I had maybe made some like in the beginning, but now I'm back to nothing. And they're desperate once again. And they're like, what do I do? How do I make this work? And I think it's because, and in fact, I know it's because too many people did the same thing. We talk about saturation and we say space is not saturated, but in this case, it is saturated because you have people selling the same product. Hundreds of thousands of people.
Let's be clear though. digital products are not saturated.
No.
What we teach, teaching people how to sell digital products, that in itself is such a broad topic, and that cannot be saturated. What got saturated was everybody trying to teach people how to make money online when they hadn't made money online. And so then you just had all of these people teaching the same thing, and you're like, well, everybody's talking about the same thing. I don't know who to buy from. And it drowned out the people who were actually making money online successfully and were teaching from a place of experience and, you know, business success. And so that got deeply oversaturated.
Right.
And I think it's coming out of that now because of the decline of people trying to teach it and, you know, people buying up the courses. But that for sure got saturated, and anybody that said it wasn't was full of it.
Yeah, but no, you're right. The digital product space, and I don't even like calling it digital product space. What I mean is, like, if you come on Instagram and you have some life experience and you want to help other people do it, and you sell your information or your experience in the form of a digital product, that is not saturated, and it never ever will be saturated.
Because all it is, it's literally just a format. So some people have a physical service that they teach. Some people will sell a book or something, or have like goods on Etsy. Those are physical products. And then you are just packaging up what you know into a digital product, meaning someone can download it immediately. That can never be oversaturated because there's unlimited knowledge in the world and different topics. So there's always room for people to start a business and sell digital products. I want to be clear, digital products is not a niche. And I feel like that gets confused a lot.
Yeah, I don't think people understand that. I think there are like two very specific groups of people who are left over. I think there are people who are like very skeptical and exhausted, and they're like, wow, I wasted so much money and I got nothing out of it. And then there are the people who can truly understand the space and know the potential, and they're like fighting for their lives. And they've posted every day and they have 200 followers and they just are really struggling to figure it out. And they're trying, like, people reach out to Megan all the time. They're like, hey, can you, like, Megan has a scaling program, and they're like, can you please help? And they don't fit in that scaling program just because where you are in your business depends on what kind of help you need. But they do fit, and they could really benefit from Creator Club. You just, you know, where your business is depends on what kind of guidance you need. But there are people who still really, really want the help, and they just never got the correct education.
They never got guidance from somebody who knew
They
what
bought
they
a
were
course
doing.
and then they were dumped, and they just never quite. So there are the people out there like the last people who survived the zombie apocalypse. Like
That's what it feels like.
They made it to the Walmart, and they're like just surviving on the inside.
They were crawling up to the tops of the shelves.
Yeah, they were like in
living on
the
the
rafters. What are they called?
I don't even know.
And, you know, they made it in
Shelves.
the shelves, and they exist. And like, congratulations, like you made it through. And that is like, you deserve a round of applause because.
Well, those are the people in our community though. Like, we have so many people in our community who, you know, they still see the potential. That's why they're in our community, because they still know that it's a very real thing that they can do. And we have so many people moving out of, you know, the make money online niche, if that's what they were in before. And they're finally starting to build a business around what they want to talk about. And they're like, that's the kind of people that we're trying to like show others that there's more of. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but there is so much potential still. And that is like what we're trying to convey to people, because you can still build a business on social media and you can still sell digital products, but you just need to learn from someone who has built a business successfully. And I don't say this like to brag or anything, because we have made so many mistakes along the way, but we're nobodies. And we built a $1.3 million business. And did that come with a ton of mistakes? Yes.
So many.
Did it come with a lot of like?
Did it hurt?
Was it painful? Yes. Were we embarrassed? Yes. And
still am.
we are, and we're learning every single day. We don't claim to know everything, but we know at least 10% more than a lot of other people, and that's all you need to do to be able to successfully teach someone.
Well, okay. I think too, though, that these courses, I look, and this is going to hurt feelings, but I think so many people went into it and just trusted the course blindly. They were like, oh, the course is going to tell me everything. Like, they didn't use their own they didn't put their thinking caps on. They weren't like, all right,
you're thinking through the lens of desperation, though. Of course, you're like, I think the majority of people in that spot, they are like, I need something to believe in.
Well, I agree, but I was that person too.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everybody is like this, but I think some people were just like, I'm just going to let the course tell me exactly what I need to know. If the course doesn't answer a question, then maybe it's not a relevant question. Instead of being like, I have this question, the course didn't answer it. Let me go to Google. Let me do my own research. Let me start digging in a little bit more.
Fair.
And that's what we did. We didn't rely on the course information to like teach us everything. We were like, what else do we need to learn? How do we make this last? And we kind of paid attention to the trends and we were like, I don't think this is going to last forever. How do we do our own thing that does last?
Yeah. And that's okay. Not everyone thinks the same way, but I think that we can, that's why they're here listening to our podcast.
Exactly.
Because
we've done it and we can show you, like we can tell you what to do.
Yeah.
And what not to do, more importantly.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Don't do a lot of this
like
stuff
because
that
building
we
a
did.
business, like it actually is very simple. I'm not going to tell you it's easy because it takes a lot of work, but it is simple. But I feel like there's so much that you have to like not do. Like there's a lot of noise in the industry and a lot of you get the viral content like steal my viral hook, and it kind of just like makes it loud in your head. You're like, who do I listen to? What advice do I take? And we're like, no. Like, this is all you need to do. It's really this simple.
It's actually simple.
Like, actually, the most successful strategies we learned through experience and mistakes are the most simple strategies. And, like, I don't think people realize that. They feel like if it's successful, it's got to be complicated. That's what we are here to help people with.
if you take nothing else from this podcast, I just really want people to know that this space is calming down. People who were not serious about it have moved out. And your time to thrive is now. Like,
Literally.
pick your business up. I know that at times you felt defeated. Haven't we all? But you can absolutely do this. Like, it is your moment, the time to put your business back together, come up with a strong foundation, build your business from the ground up. Like this, act like your business is a brick and mortar. Like if you were going to go into work every day, except it's your couch or you're on vacation or wherever you want to be, you're sitting at home, homeschooling your kids, you're going to go to work, you're going to figure out what is your offer, what you're selling, and then you're going to sell it and you're going to make money and you're going to support your family. You can do all of this from your house.
I actually think what you just said is kind of amazing. You said, pretend like this is a brick and mortar.
Yeah, I love that.
And people, they didn't do that because they're like, oh my God, online business is so different from a brick and mortar.
Right,
and
but
yes, it is.
It is, but you have to take the same kind of ownership in it as you would a brick and mortar.
You should have the same pride. Like if someone came to your business and went to your Instagram page, you should take the same sort of pride as if somebody walked into your shop and they were like, hey, Megan, wow, I love what you've created. I love your products are so helpful. I can't wait to take it home. I can't wait to tell everyone what I've learned or what I got from you.
Yeah.
You're creating a business that potentially, if you wanted, you could hand over to the next person.
Oh yeah.
Like
It's wild.
Yeah.
If our kids
generational.
Yes, if our kids, we have a bunch put together, if they wanted to take this over from us, they absolutely could.
100%.
Like our children,
because we're setting it up that way.
But
Yes.
it's like a different kind of just experience. It's freaking incredible. And I hate that people got the ick from it. They jumped in, they were crazy excited, and then they got let down because it is never, like it's just never been more opportunity than there is right now today.
So many
Right.
people
To
have
start
quit.
So many people have quit when we're coming up. Like it's never going to slow down.
It makes me so sad for them because I just don't think that they saw the opportunity. I think they were misled. They got defeated. And at that time, it was very, very tough in the space because there were so many people just buying and reselling and not building the business that meant something to them, something they could take pride in, that they felt good about, because it wasn't about the quick money and making $10,000 instantly. It was about what people were promising is quitting your job and having a lifetime of financial freedom. And you can't do that. by just reselling somebody else's
No.
business or reselling somebody else's
No.
products. And unfortunately, they didn't ever get the courses that would teach them that. So,
But it's not too late.
it's not too late. This is your time. Like the time is now. Like you have if you bought the course, you still have the information. Hopefully they didn't.
There's still solid information in a lot of those courses.
But do your own research.
But also a lot of things have changed since those courses came out. The industry has changed, which is why like we are constantly updating our courses and our information.
I think our members are probably like, oh, we have to go through it again. 'Cause
Another course
we
update? Yeah,
record
bro.
our stuff, our like courses all the time to get to like more updated.
Just to-
and
yeah,
to
keep them
keep
up
up
to
with
date.
how quickly social media is moving and the industry's moving. And they're like, oh, I just finished the last courses. We're like,
watch this
well, you
again?
got to keep learning.
Okay, but like what would you say to someone who has given up and to someone who like tried to buy into the dream, they really wanted to make it work and it didn't work and they just totally gave up? What would you say to them right now to do today?
I think a lot of that depends on what they were doing before. So if you bought an MRR course, you bought somebody else's course, you were banking on somebody else's product making you money, you're not going to want to hear it. But if you honestly want to make money online, you start over. You start from scratch and you build something that is 100% yours. It depends on nobody else. And the reason that I can tell you that, the reason why we can all tell you that is because we did it the wrong way first.
Yeah.
We did the exact same thing.
Right.
We built what we thought was a business on somebody else's product. Did it make us money? Yes.
Sure.
Did it lose us money? Yes. Did it leave me with a lot of anxiety? Yes.
And we did not feel aligned with it at all. It didn't sit well with us. And
don't.
that peace, not having the peace is not worth it.
No. And what I would say is you got into this space. Sure, it was on somebody else's product. I did the same. We did the exact same thing. You got into this space though.
Yeah.
And
Who cares how you got there?
it doesn't matter how you got here, even though, look, if y'all listen to my podcast with Caitlin, like I talk about this a little bit, but I'm not going to talk about it now. But what I'm saying is like, you got into this space. You learned that this is a real opportunity. You did it the wrong way. And maybe it made you some money. And I'm not going to necessarily say it's the wrong way, but you didn't do it the way that's going to last.
Right.
But you have the foundation, you have the basics, you even have that course that you were selling. Go back and watch the information, but watch it for what it can build you that's yours, not a business that depends 100% on somebody else's product.
Yeah.
Get back on it, but actually go through it and think like, what can I do? How can I serve based on what I've lived, what I know, what I love, and how can I help somebody else and build a business on that? That would be my piece of advice.
Okay. But what about the people who never even got started?
Oh, shoot.
This
All
is
right.
your time.
All right, y'all.
We got you, boo.
Yeah, 100%
You're
because
in for a fun ride.
you might even be in a better position than we were.
Oh, for sure.
1,000,000%.
A way better
We were a
position.
bunch of little dum-dums when we got started.
I agree.
You're coming in at the best point.
Oh my
The
gosh.
best possible point
Also-
because you're learning from us who made every mistake in the book
Because we're stubborn.
because we just thought like, let's do it. Like we can figure this out.
Let's freaking go.
Instead of like, look, we can talk about this for an entire probably month, but you are coming in. If you have not started an online business yet, and let's be real, it's not a side hustle. We're talking about a business. Okay.
A business.
If you want to make serious money, you can, but we're going to talk about it being a business and not some side hustle. Is it going to be a side hustle in the beginning while you're still working your full-time job?
Yep.
Yes, it will be because you're going to be working a full-time job. But if you're coming into it, what I would encourage you to do, and look, if it's not us, that's totally fine. But find somebody who you trust,
who you align with.
who you align with,
right?
Values, personality, all of that is incredibly important. And then go through whatever information or content that person has to teach you how to build a business. But remember that whoever you buy from, whoever you decide to go with as a mentor, as a coach, their experience, like their course, their content is going to be rooted in their experience. So
Right.
while the information generally is the same, like there's only so many ways you can create a product
Right.
and sell a product. The way you get to that point is going to be based on whatever coach you choose.
There's different strategies.
Different strategies, different approaches, different frameworks, all kinds of stuff. That doesn't mean anyone is necessarily better than another one. It just
No.
means that if they're a good coach, they're teaching you based on what they have found success in and in the way that they do it themselves. So
Which is exactly what we do.
yeah, it's exactly what we do.
We tend to keep things on the much simpler side because we found that works best, and it works best for our brains. The simpler, the better, because it's still effective, wildly effective.
Yeah, you also don't have to recreate the wheel like
Right,
we did
like
12 times.
We have recreated the wheel more times than we can count.
We're
and spent
really
a lot
good
of
at
money.
it.
We spent a lot of money
And then we
doing
get
it.
to the other side of the wheel and we're like, wow, so dumb.
Oh, you're telling me that wheel existed already?
Wow,
you mean a Google search?
You mean the one that I
existed?
Googled and then I ignored because I wanted to do it myself?
Yeah. Oh, that wheel?
the one we spent a ton of money on that already existed for one fraction of the price.
My bad.
So cute. Love that for us.
Love that for us.
Hashtag business owner.
I would say watch episode 2 because we can talk a lot about what that business looks like for you and what I think part of the problem is they're like, I don't even know, even if I watched this, even if I learned how to set up my business, I don't even know what that would look like for me. And in episode 2, we can go into the nitty gritty of what
We're just gonna start talking about all of it.
We're gonna hold your hand. We're gonna be your guardian angels. That's terrible. we're gonna
I don't
guide
love
you through
that.
it. I don't love that either.
Hey, what
It
was
just
that
came
angel
out.
show we watched in the 90s? Touched by an Angel.
Touched by an angel. Oh, that
Remember
wow.
that show
Really
brings
aged us there.
really
We're gonna be
fond,
your
warm
Tess.
memories. Oh, I need to listen to the theme song now so I
Wow.
can feel that deep. Such a good
Okay,
one.
well,
Anyways,
I'm gonna get a buzzer for Paige so she will stay on topic.
To be fair, I started that one.
you did, and we do that all the time. So we might need 2 buzzers.
Okay, back
But
to business.
We're going to, throughout this season, we're going to be talking about how to actually build your foundation in a way that's going to strengthen your business or help you start it, start off strong. And we're going to get into the nitty gritty
And
of
we're going
it.
to tell you everything we did because not only did we start by buying one of those
Viral courses.
viral courses, the MRR, but then built a platform and own course, and then
Multiple products.
actual built like through a platform, hired developers, built
An app.
and platform, and spent a ton of money building it, and then
Are we going?
did some other stuff you don't know about yet.
We're rehashing history.
And built a bot that Paige spent 1 billion years building and
6 months.
training. 6 months.
1 billion
It's just
years.
a long time when you're training and building an AI bot. So if it is out there and needs to be built, we have done it. And we can talk to you about that. And
We will talk about
You
it.
don't have to scale that high. You never have to scale that high. We are just apparently crazy. And that is what we've decided for our lives. You never have to take your business that far. But what I'm saying is that we've done a lot and can very obviously help you build a strong basic foundation for your business that will last the long run. Take you,
For sure.
that was a baseball home run.
Home run.
And then the crowd goes,
That was very good.
thank you.
So in episode 2, we're going to be talking about one of the most
Controversial.
one of the biggest struggles that we hear from our own students and from, just
Everybody.
everyone. And I think you guys are going to find it really helpful because we're talking about it in a way that other people don't really talk about it. We're going to tell you good advice and bad advice. And so you definitely want to listen and tune into that. So wherever you are in your business, this episode is going to be for you.
The number one question
The number one.
that we get from everybody, and I'll tell you right now, because you're going to want to hear it. You're going to want to hear what we talk about is, what do I sell?
What do I talk about?
What do I sell? What
Yeah.
do I talk about? What is my niche? And we're going to talk about,
Niche is such a
I hate the
trigger
word niche.
now.
It is a trigger word, but we're going to talk about how you figure out what you sell and how you build a business out of it. And you don't have to take courses. You don't have to get an education in it.
We'll talk more
talk
about
all
that
about it.
episode 2. So stick around for that one because it's going to be good.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. Also, it's not like super fun for us just to come up with all the questions and stuff by ourselves. So if you want us to talk about something specific, or if you have questions, or you just want to chit chat with us, you can reach out to us. Megan's handle is the Megan Hall, and Paige is the Paige Herzog. But only message the ones with the blue check verified things, because there are a lot of spam accounts, and y'all be talking to a lot of spam accounts.
A lot.
So if you could not talk to them and only message the real ones, the Megan Hall, there's no numbers, no underscores.
Never ask
the
you to
letters
send us
aren't
money.
flip-flopped. We'll never ask you to WhatsApp us money.
Cryptocurrency, none of that.
None of that. And the Paige Herzog, please message us. We would love.
Yeah,
you
we
want
just
to
want to
talk-
hear what you want to know.
Yeah.
We'll tell you everything.
It's literally what we're here for, is to answer your questions.
All right, cool. So we'll see you in episode 2.
Peace
ya.
out.